Alrighty. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Siegecast. Sheesh! I'm your host, Graxy, and this is a podcast where we're going to dive into all things Hero Siege, from showcasing new content to debating some controversial hot topics. Thank you guys so much for being here so close to Christmas. I hope you're having the best holidays, getting in plenty of family time, making some cool memories. This episode was recorded live on Twitch at twitch.tv/Graxy_TV on Monday, December 22nd at 7:30 p.m. CST. I will be hosting this episode of Siegecast on my YouTube shortly after its conclusion. Everything that we discuss here is based on the current information that we have, and things might change. Opinions shared in this podcast are mine and those of my guests. We all have different perspectives and experiences with the game, so feel free to share your thoughts, but let's all keep it friendly and respectful. Returning for episode 2, we have Benderden and Sleepy Cat. Thank you guys for being here. And
Thank you for having us, sir.
Yeah. And our newest guest, Fuma, as well. Ben and Sleepy have already had a chance to kind of introduce themselves in our last episode, but I'd like to give Fuma a moment to introduce himself and tell us a little about his history with Hero Siege.
What's up, guys? My name is Kevin, also known as Fuma, and I'm 29 years old. I was born and raised in Brazil, so shout out to all my Brazilian friends in the chat. And I work as an item designer / game designer / QA for Panic Art Studios. Vai Brasil!
Great. How long have you been playing Hero Siege?
What?
How long have you been playing Hero Siege?
Oh, I've been playing Hero Siege for like 4 to 5 years, I guess.
Yeah.
I have more than 10k hours. So it's been a long journey.
I thought you started in Hero Siege in 2.0. I guess not. Yeah.
No.
Been around for a while. Holy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Guys, for this episode, we'll be finishing up the topics from last week's episode and then reviewing our questionnaire. The questionnaire that I had from last episode, we'll kind of go through those player responses. A link to the questionnaire will be added and pinned to the Twitch chat, so you guys are welcome to fill that out. Kind of we're going through the Siegecast. Let me grab that for you right now. I'll have one of the mods pin it. There we go. And yeah, let's get started. So our first main topic that I want to bring up is party scaling and difficulty balance. So to kind of like start with this one, I think Sleepy and I have a pretty good like session with the current party scaling. So last season we started and normal felt super easy, right? Like you obviously get geared up, you get strong, kind of push through the game, like everything seemed fine. And the second that we hit Nightmare, things just fell off a cliff. Like we literally like 2 or 3 tapped Mevius. Then we went into Nightmare and couldn't kill like blue mobs as a group. It just felt completely off. And I remember whenever I first started in the season 8 beta, I had played Shaman a couple of times, right? And Shaman, same thing, absolutely destroyed all of normal. The second that you hit Nightmare, falls off the face of the earth, and like you can't kill anything. I'm like full inting characters and can't kill like white and blue mobs. Does anyone else experience this, or is this just me?
Did you felt this like with only one character?
Multiple. Yeah, I played meta characters
I
and non-meta characters, and it seems like every class that I go through is the second that
Yeah,
you hit
yeah.
Nightmare, it's like I don't know if monsters
Yeah,
just get a ton of res.
Yeah, kind of brick. We kind of hit a brick wall.
Yeah, and like I've tried making different gearing choices. I've tried going like say like full damage on everything, but it just seems like there's like this really weird transition between normal and Nightmare that just has yet to be solved. And I don't feel that way with normal or with Nightmare and Hell. It seems to be a bit better because you have a bit more power with your augment and stuff. But yeah. So, and the reason I bring this up is it's even worse whenever you have a party. For a game that claims to be like a multiplayer game or is a multiplayer game that can have multiple people in your party, it's a very good game for grouping up. The party scaling makes it so much worse, to the point where Sleepy and I actually had to split up because it was more efficient, more advantageous for us to just not play in a party, which shouldn't be the case.
Yeah, definitely shouldn't. But I think that won't be a problem anymore. We need to see that once the beta starts, because if you check the patch notes, you'll see that we lowered the party scaling
Yeah,
for all difficulty
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And also on top of that, like about the transition bit like from normal to nightmare, I think that the I've been doing quite work on the low tier satanics, so they should feel more impactful now, and the transition should feel way smoother, in theory, at least.
Okay. Are there any items particularly that?
There are many items in
Okay.
the. If you can check them in the item section in the patch notes. You'll see that it's a lot of B tiers and
Yeah.
C tiers.
And I know, and I don't want
A
to.
tier.
I don't want to steal Ben's thunder here, but I know Ben has been kind of working on something a little bit. I've been kind of messing with it a little bit.
Oh
I don't
yeah.
know if you want to share that now, Ben, or if that's something that's kind of like a later on thing.
No, it's fine to, so basically what we're trying, what I've done is put forth an Excel spreadsheet, and I'm hoping to get Graxy and Sleepy's opinion on it and then submit it to Fuma. And the plan is to break down all of the rune words in the game and really get an idea on where the balance is on like what we're missing. It will be broken down through the levels, all of the different attributes from things like, does it have arcane, what elemental damage it provides, and if it's anything notable or if it's just because of the rune that's used. Really try and break this down to where we can go, hey, what are we missing? Like what is just genuinely not being represented? And how can we make the existing rune words more viable? Because right now half of them don't even get used. So I'm hoping that we can kind of work that,
Yes, for sure.
in a
Definitely.
positive way.
Definitely.
And I will say, that is one thing that has been super great. Working with Fuma, especially, is Fuma has been so open when it comes to like, especially items. I brought an issue to him of like, hey, progressionary wise, like, there's nothing for lightning. And I went through and I did my homework, and looked up at all the different satanics. I'm like, yeah, these are the closest things that you can get. And he went through and revamped an item on the spot with me. Like, it's been really nice to be able to do that and be able to like report that back to the community, to you guys, and go, hey, we're getting good stuff done here. Like, you'll see the benefits.
Right.
Yep.
So I guess that
Uh, Go on.
yeah, I guess that raises the question of, and this is something that I've just talked about in the past and in general, because being a guide creator, I've had situations where a lot of like my early stuff was very rune word focused, and a lot of people the best way to explain this is I wouldn't want the game to also just turn into a rune word game, if that makes sense, where
Oh
you're
no no
basically
no
just
no.
getting deterministic drops, deterministic runes. You're always going to get the bases, and then just making the game too easy because you're just putting rune
Nah.
words in every single slot that would allow
Yeah
you to
yeah.
do that content.
We had it for a brief moment back in season one open beta, and it was kind of a disaster
Yeah,
because like heroic items were shit, and like basically rune words are the only equipable viable items. So that's not what we want. We want them to be balanced, not OP and not cheaty, of course.
Well, and
yeah,
that's honestly part of why, like, at least with the, what I'm trying to put together, I really want to try and focus more on like the leveling prospect, because that's where we're really missing out on rune. There's so much stuff geared and tooled towards the end game. It's like we can really do a little bit more in the mid range to, if you don't find anything, it becomes, bad RNG simulator. And so having something to at least potentially fall back on would be really nice. I know for a lot of people, like, hey, what do I do when I don't find this, or if I'm not in trade and can't buy it? Well, you're dead to luck. And if we can kind of limit that in any kind of way, that would probably help for a lot of the players.
yeah. I'm kind of back and forth on it too, where I kind of don't mind the RNG. Um, Kind of kicking you a little bit, right? Because again, having the fallback once again just creates the situation where I guess you can't get screwed by RNG in that case. Does that make sense? Like in some situations, players should feel that their RNG is not good, right?
Yes, yes. At the end of the day, it's still in a
Right.
RNG based game. So
Yeah, but it's very like we're talking about leveling, which At least I am.
Yeah.
I'm more specifically talking about early leveling, getting to 100. Maybe some of those early rune words is where it's like you want there to be that
Yep.
RNG and not just like a straight path all the way through to where there's no challenge on the player side, nor is there any decision making on like what class to play, whatever, because it's all handed to them. Does that make sense? Which I don't think
Yes.
we're going to put like 30 skills on a rune word or something like that.
No, no, definitely not.
So
No, and I agree with you on that, Grax. Like, I agree that you should feel the RNG, but like, okay, as it is right now, because I specialize in lightning, the first actual tangible lightning rune word that you can use isn't until level 67 for a weapon. Like, you have no option. That's it. There's nothing that gives you any kind of like improvement. So that's kind of what I was more looking at. Is it's not even that like, oh, we don't want their like. It's not even about whether or not there's a fallback. There's nothing at all. Like, you're completely dead to RNG. So that was more what I was looking at.
yeah. And I also think that I think people crash out more in the beginning, especially with that transition. I've had a lot of people tell me that they just like crash out from not having enough defenses or not enough life. They don't have enough damage, or the monsters are taking forever to kill. It feels like they're playing, PoE, especially from that normal to nightmare transition. So I think it's really important, especially with Hero Siege making its way to PS5. There's a large potential player base that has been untapped, basically. So you don't want people crashing out in your game in Nightmare because they just feel like they're not doing anything. So
Yes.
Or the rune words can become healthy because a lot of those early satanics have basically 0 defenses on them, so you're walking a Nightmare in Hell and just getting one tap by everything.
yeah,
Oh no, if you check the item sections, can I share links in your chat, Grexy?
yeah, you can share links.
Okay, so that's the link straight to the item sections on the patch notes. You'll see like there's a bunch of stuff that will change in the
Yeah.
future. So, but you can see that there's a lot of low tier items being buffed,
Yeah,
especially on the resist part.
I like that the patch notes are finally like showing what's changing, because that's something that's happened in the past where they're like,
Oh yeah,
you say
oh
we
yeah,
buff this or nerf that, and it's like, okay, well, what did you actually do?
yeah. I'm trying to be like as detailed as possible.
Yeah, for sure.
So-
Something that things are being changed from the party play, so it's going down. It looks like about 15%.
Yes,
Um,
it's
Per
nothing
diffi-
set on stone.
yeah.
It's not nothing set on stone.
per difficulty, it's just something that definitely needs to be tested by us
Yes.
and playing in a party and just kind of really feeling that out, especially like I said, that normal to nightmare, because it's quite a lot in terms of like
Yeah.
150% early game is crazy
Yes.
per player. That's not even like total for the lobby. That's per player. Okay. So kind of with the same thing with party scaling and difficulty balance. One thing that I've never really understood is why auras don't affect everything. Like the auras a lot of the times like half affect your party or half affect minions or half affect, like you can't put auras on a merc and have them really affect you in a lot of cases. It just seems like the auras just haven't really been balanced well into the game.
What you mean by they don't do anything? Like they don't work?
They work.
Or they're
They work if you're wearing them, but half the time, if you put an aura on your mercenary, it will not affect you or
Oh,
other
so
party members. Or it's like,
Yeah, that's a bug. That's not
Okay.
a feature. That's a bug. If you spot any of those,
I guess
free
more.
to
I guess
report.
in my case, it's more specifically like towards minions. Minions obviously don't.
No,
Yeah,
minions don't get affected by aura. Not anymore. They
Yeah.
used to. They do not anymore.
Which is, this might be a bit off topic, but it seems that minions got kicked around quite a lot. Like there was like one particular minion build, I guess, with Necromancer that was doing really hot. And then minions just got kicked to the curb. Like wolves, nobody plays. Parrots, nobody plays. And then now we have a new
They had that
summoner
one
class.
season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had that one season, and then I'm not gonna say who it was, but somebody went on a crusade for like 2 seasons to nerf them, and it worked. But now they're just so like meh. other than life stack, which is not really a bug, but like I feel like it wasn't intended. Some of the damage calculation that wasn't supposed to happen that got fixed.
Yes, yes, it was double or triple deeping or something like that. Unintended damage, basically.
Ozzy, do you got anything for us?
We do have one question that's not directly related to the topic on hand. Dragon's Dogma Fanboy asks, will there be more options for arcane casters, primarily in regards to shields? It seems like there aren't that many great options besides Celestial Authority for endgame, and the grind for that feels bad unless you're on trade.
Not directly, but the Celestial Authority will be much easier to get now because you can first and foremost, I lowered the chance, like not lowered, like it's easier to drop it now. It has an easier drop chance, let's say. So on top of that, you can also focus your farm on the Unstable Rift using the topic that we're gonna discuss in future. It's the Atlas tree, basically from PoE. So you can focus on farming Unstable Rifts over and over, and just the Unstable Rifts. So it will be much easier to get the Celestial Authority shield.
Right, through the ether tree, being able to
Yes,
proc them
yes,
more
and
often.
yes, and also its drop rate is like 30% less rare now. Something around that.
And I guess
And also, side note, and also, Unstable Rifts are way easier to spot on the map now. You can spot them, if I remember correctly, 1,000 pixels away from your character. So you find them very, very easy. No.
It'd be nice given how hard it was to find things like Celestial and Sight of the Gods last season. I know we had like severe issues finding those to the point where we weren't sure it was even dropping in a lot of situations.
Yes, they were. But yeah, they were quite rare. I've tweaked the drop rates on them.
So, and I guess this kind of goes back to this question of, so yes, it's more common to get Celestial's Authority now, but it kind of like, is there another shield that people, I mean, obviously there's other shields that they can wear, but I feel like every arcane caster just gets pivoted into this one shield. And it's like this one shield that just seems too strong.
Yes, but that goes to like every poison build will go to the Bubonic Plague, for example. Every fire build will go to these. The other one that I can't remember the name. The
Crematoriums.
Crematoriums. Yes, this one. That's something you can't escape. There's always gonna be like a best in slot shield. Like for now, at least, that we have this kind of straightforward play style for casters. So, remains to be seen.
I guess this will make me move towards. So our next topic is talking about skill tags and stuff like that. So I know that we're getting new affixes on items. So none of the current items that we have now are getting any affixes that would make somebody not choose the Celestials.
Oh yes, for sure.
Okay. So like what? What would make me choose any other shield, or what affix would I get on another item that would make me not choose just going the same item? It's not that it's a huge shield, like there's always going to be some sort of best in slot, but that's also not the case to a certain degree, because if we're adding a 1500 node tree and we're changing the tags on a lot of these skills, wouldn't we assume that this would now create interactions people who would use something other than a Celestials?
Yes. Another thing, I've nerfed also the Celestial's Authority, so there's that on top of all the things we said before. And I wouldn't say like the tags will change the best in slot shield for Arcane, but I'd say like the options, like the thing that shines the most on the Celestial's Authority is it's obviously the Ignore Arcane risk that it gives.
Yeah, it gives a lot.
You basically, it goes up to 60. So by giving other items sources of Ignore Arcane resist, you can make Celestial's Authority not so mandatory, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well,
because you just need to hit the cap. if like the 100% cap. You ignore arcane resist, and if you can do that by using other items instead of Celestial's Authority, you'll be good.
Go ahead, Kat.
Like that thing with Celestial's Authority is the conversion effect is what's so powerful about it.
I would agree.
No, definitely, it's definitely not. Definitely, it's not that. It's what makes it stronger, but it's not what makes it like. If you, I've been playing Arcane Caster since basically since season 1, and when you get your hands on the Celestial Authority, even if you don't use the conversion part, your damage goes like you basically skyrockets just from the ignore arcane rest. It's minus 60% is too much, like from one single item. Anyways, the conversion part is nerfed from 125 to 110 now.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely goes both. I think both of them. I mean, getting 60%, pen on one item is crazy. I just feel like I never really had much of an issue, especially now with the globes getting 100% pen. So I feel like that 60% becomes less of a point. Maybe at the beginning of the game, whenever you like first are pushing your character, sure, but later on, it's really not that hard to hit 100%.
Yeah, yeah, and we
making
have
that,
relics.
and people
We
still
have
use it,
relics now.
right?
We
People,
have relics now.
yeah, people still
also.
use it because the conversion is just so strong later on.
Yes,
It's a good
but the
shield too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes, but the conversion was nerfed, and also
True.
the like the other items that were like making the conversion OP. I've made sure to change those as well.
Mhm.
Like the fucking ice claw. What's it called again? Fucking cold. Let me find its name. Glacier Talons. Those were
Mhm.
nerfed.
Yeah. So kind of in the same
And
wheelhouse, we have skill tags. I know you've been working a lot with skill tags. For those of you that don't
yes,
know, like skills, they have their tags of like maybe Pirates Anchor Swing has the orbital tag. It has the what I don't know if it has projectile tag, but it had duration or whatever these different tags are, and they matter because in the new tree there's a lot of different things that you can take that will you need to work with certain skills, but not with other ones, or more specifically because we have the sub skill trees, it needs to work with specific augments and not other ones. So Fuma went through every single augment in the game
yes.
and fixed, quote unquote, fixed, added, removed, made their tags make sense for that augment.
Oh yes.
Um,
Yes. Every single big node, not the small nodes, because that would make the game impossible to balance. But all the big nodes, from Viking to the newest character, the Prophet, all of them, they have the proper tags now.
for everybody in chat, here is a document that has all of those skill tags that you're welcome to check out and kind of get an idea. If there's any in there that you're like, hey, this doesn't make sense, or this needs this tag, or whatever it may be, I'm sure Fuma, his DMs are open to anybody that has any concerns about that. But how much of a difference do we think this is going to make in build diversity?
It's going to be a huge difference, mostly because of the incarnation tree, not just items, but I'd say mostly because of the hero tree.
Yeah, I can agree.
This has been one that I've been super excited about, especially working with Fuma on some like recommendations to Fuma, I should say. The build diversity is just going to be absolutely amazing, and like he's right, it is mostly because of the incarnation tree, but putting the proper tags on certain abilities is just going to make I'm super excited about it. That's probably the biggest thing I'm ecstatic for, is being able to present like so many different new and especially like visually appealing builds is going to be exciting, because I mean there's some of them that are just way outside of left field, like being able to go, hey, if you want to play Pally, you can still play a sentry build. Like that's just going to throw people for a loop, because of proper tags.
Right. So can you give me a more specific example? So it sounds like you've done like a lot of this already, where you've like seen, oh, this didn't have this tag before, and now it does. this now creates this new interaction or this new build that's different than what it was before? Do you have like a particular example?
Oh yeah. God, there's a couple of great examples actually. The one that I play, Lightning Fury, now has the orbital tag. So whereas right now it's very consistent with the new skill tree,
That's stupid.
it can go through and like be modified even higher or changed in size and all of that. But one that wasn't existing that I'm excited about now is going to be Divine Storm. Now having the area of effect tag functioning with basically throwing lightning tornadoes,
Right.
which I'm excited to bring for next season.
Right, and they've talked about that one a little bit. So that gives more context as what they mean when new tags are being added and like how that actually can change builds. Like you're saying, the area of effect. Have you guys ever seen Divine Storm? It's like it's like the size of the waypoint. Versus now, hopefully with some of the AOE scaling, we can make it as big as, maybe Blender or something. So
Yeah, it's great.
Fascinating
It's great.
with the tree. I'm thinking, and it may need to be nerfed, but I'm thinking it may come in almost screen size, if not bigger.
Yeah, it's good. Pretty.
well, and I'm curious with some of the AOE scaling because generally speaking, in the past, AOE scaling has always just been off the base value. So you have a circle that's the size of the waypoint, and you add 200% AOE to that, and it's not going to hit beyond like the stash. But if you're sitting on the waypoint, it wouldn't go past the stash. 200% is not that much. It's off of the base value.
Yes.
So I don't know how so maybe I'm misunderstanding it.
No, but lots of skills that has the AOE, that have the AOE tag. They also have the AOE subnode, which increases the base. So the AOE stat will go like after
Yeah.
that.
Because that's
increase,
normally
no?
how we've been increasing AOEs. We've just been
Yes.
running
Yeah.
off of the base and not being able to like actually increase the AOE.
Yes, but
It's-
now we can increase the AOE.
It's like that. Has anyone ever played Burst of Light? And it's that small, like little Nova. It's actually smaller than the waypoint as an augment. Like, and you can't make it any bigger. Or I think
It's so tiny.
it's so dog shit. And I've said something about it like 3 times, and I'm like, how, dude? It's crazy. So, hopefully, now that we have AOE scaling, maybe playing Nova Sork or Nova White Mage might become a thing now.
Some of the tree effects on these tags are so fascinating. Like the fact that Demon Spawn's Blood Surge is considered a projectile now.
Only if you have the
He's about to go nerf it. He's like,
only if you have the unlimited power augment.
Yeah, with unlimited power, but still with unlimited power,
Yeah.
it's a projectile.
Yes, that's the whole idea.
I think one of the biggest questions that chat is asking is how the cat actually made it into that sweater. How he actually fit in that sweater.
I have a team.
The cats. They are they all in the basement? You just hang out. You just go down in the basement and they help
There is
fit you.
no basement.
Okay. So I guess this comes into because I've got you here for you're the item guy, right? That's like what your job title is QA and itemization. So while I've got you here, I really want to understand how the skill tags and some of these new affixes that we're getting for season 9 and how all this translates into the new itemization. Can you give me any like specific example? So can like mythic items, can different rarity items get some of these new affixes, or is it only just like
No,
heroics?
I don't mess with mythic and below. That's complete like that. That's another area. That's basically purely RNG, and I don't mess with those. I just mess with unique items.
Okay, so the new affixes are the new ways that we're able to engage with our items to create some like these new interactions and stuff. Is it more of a, how like a lot of items have like a one-liner on them that's like, now you can be a mana build, or you get damage based on your mana, and it has like a 1 through 10. Is it like those sort of stats, or are we just like what kind of new affixes are we looking at here, I guess?
I
So I think
guess.
this is really important because I feel like the reason why we keep saying things are best in slot is because the affixes that we get on items, there's only so many, right? That can be for any particular
Yes.
build, and it just seems like it becomes very limiting. Where like you make a new item and guess what? The item has skills on it. It has arcane skill damage on it. It might have or magic skill damage on it. It has sockets. It has res, and it has like one thing about it that's
Yes.
different than the another item that's just a counterpart. It's literally the
y-
exact same item, but it has one stat that's different. We've just made
Yes.
like 10 of the same item, basically.
Yes. One of my ideas to create more like build diversity with unique items is to focus these stat lines using the skill tags. So one item don't become like the best slot for every physical character, for example. Like the Executioner Skokun, as an
Mhm.
example. Like basically every physical character was running the chest, but now it only works for melee characters because the ranged physical characters now has the what's it called, sharpshooter's cloak, which is basically the counterpart but for ranged. So uh, like for the future, we don't have the time to make it for this
Mhm.
season because there's a lot of content yet to come. But uh, I'd say for season 10 probably um I will probably create new items using like let's say some weird S tag. I don't know.
Yeah.
Plus 12 to move to charge skills or whatever. Something like that. Now your charge skills go over walls or something.
Right. Right. And that's something that I think in the past, whenever you've asked for item ideas or Elias has been has asked for item, but just anybody in general has asked for item ideas. The list that I sent was really like these one-liners that have very much changed the interaction of how that item is used in the game. A good example of
Mhm.
this is PoE. PoE does this. That's why their itemization is so good. Is because you can put on two unique items that completely change how that build works. So yeah. Any other thoughts on that from anyone?
Nope.
Okay. So, how do we think? This is something that's been more recent that I've really understood some of this perspective. But how do we think Elias's perspective on gaming affects these item decisions and affects certain things like this?
I have no idea. You have to ask him.
Sure.
I have no idea what's going on inside that man's head.
Right. I think a lot of us know he plays a lot of D2. The game is very Diablo 2 inspired, right? All of us here play D2. I met Ben like 5 years ago on PD2.
Yikes.
Yeah. And I mean, you say yikes, but we all know he plays a lot of D2 and D2R, right? And he's very openly talked about how, the slower gameplay, the more, the harder, the higher rarity item grinding, all of these sorts of things are very important to a game, but it seems like the actual game is the opposite in ways. It's super interesting to see how like his perspective.
I see like where he's coming from, but
Mm-hmm.
like
So I guess it's like, how does that affect how you're able to create items, or does it? Does it make it easier?
I I don't think it affects Hero Siege like at all because like you were talking about the insane amount of hours grinding for a single item to
Mm-hmm.
do on D2 and etc. But Diablo 2 is basically one of those games that how can I say that you kind of go deep into one single character. You don't like it's basically an MMORPG. It's not a seasonal game like Hero Siege, like Path of Exile, like Diablo 4, etc. Like you play with the same character for years, so that's fair. Like if you need to grind 1,000 hours for an item, if you're playing that character for 6 years, That's completely opposite. The opposite of Hero Siege. Hero Siege is more fast-paced, and so does like the season less, way less than if you compare it to Diablo. So I don't think it affects Hero Siege at all. Like the way he thinks, he
Right.
knows what fits in Hero Siege and what does not.
So I guess when I say with item decisions, so there's never really like pushback whenever you're going to him with like certain item ideas or certain things, like interactions within the game, or wanting to create crazy interactions with certain items. Like there's really no limitations on your side
No,
as an
no,
item as a
no,
creator.
no.
I think that's important as we're like thinking of new ideas and as we're cooking and doing whatever that we we don't have any limitations ourselves that we have to like be afraid of, I guess. So, okay.
I will say when you look at Hero Siege compared to D2, a lot of the things that we have been talking about, especially like itemization, and we were talking about rune words and whatnot, and especially when someone brought up the Celestial Authority, I can completely see why that's a thing, because that's exactly the same way in D2. Like the builds, you have your piece. If you're playing this, you're playing this class, you want this item. Kind of a vibe. So I can see where that comes from, because it is very D2 esque, at least like original D2 vibe.
Mhm. Well, and I think whenever I talk about D2 in the game, Hero Siege is nothing like D2, right? And I get people all the time that will say, "Oh, Hero Siege is just a D2 clone," and it's like, bro, no, it's they're literally nothing alike. But yeah, where I come from with like certain perspectives and stuff, I just wanted to make sure that on Fuma's side that there's not really this pushback in itemization, because I do know that Elias prefers things like D2R or just like the slower gameplay, and it's just very interesting how we go from him as an artist and him as a designer, and what he likes in gaming just translates into Hero Siege. It's just very different. You can definitely see how players really affect how this game is played and what the direction this game goes.
Definitely.
Yeah, he knows he has to separate those two things, his own personal feelings on like what he thinks of as like the ideal game versus what is more marketable and actually good for the health of Hero Siege.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Ozzy, do we have anything from the boys?
We do not.
Okay, cool. So we'll move on off that topic. Let's talk about the new class. The Prophet, dude. I know all of us have kind of checked out the Prophet. Anybody have some first impressions? Excited about anything particularly?
I think the community is going to be really excited about it. I think visually it has potential to be very appealing.
Mm-hmm.
And
she's hot,
especially kind of that. She's hot.
You can say Booba.
Is she
Hell
furry
yeah.
enough for you? Like, isn't that...
Okay.
They'll make a nice furry skin for it, just for Sleepy.
I was trying to look for the augment page. The page where you can see all of the skills and augments and blah blah. I was gonna link that in chat. If anybody has that, can you definitely link that in chat for me? I'd appreciate it. If not, I'll find it here.
Sure.
Yeah, Paz, if you can link that for the boys to kind of check out, I would appreciate that. Uh-oh. Oh, shock. Okay. So, any favorite skills? Any build ideas? I know I saw the ravens, the shock ravens or the lightning ravens or the bees. Oh,
dude, the bees. Oh my god.
I don't want to hit this bees so bad. It sounds so cool.
yeah. So I
way
guess
way to get back at the game.
Yeah.
Hey, you hate wasps so much. Here you go. Now you can play with them.
So here's a really like controversial one, that topic that I want to bring up. Should beta testers be allowed to test this class? And more specifically,
Yes.
should beta testers be allowed to stream testing this class?
Yes.
I would be fine with not being allowed to stream it, but definitely testing, because there needs to be people who are going to try and break it to try and resolve issues that might not be caught.
Mm-hmm.
That's not up to me, but I don't see a problem at all.
Okay.
we never had that issue before, so I don't see why we will have this.
Well, it's more of a. I mean, we all, especially next season, we all play trade, right? And though Hero Siege is a PVE game, there is still competition within it, right? Because it has an economy.
Mhm.
So we all care to try and grind against each other to get items for other people or whatever. And having the amount of hours that we have on a new class before everybody else does, and starting in a new season where you can get a first 100 on it and all these different things, is that healthy for the community?
I think it's even more important that it's streamed, because then there's more information out there for everyone instead of just a streamer or a tester having access to that. I think it's important that everyone sees it live as much as possible.
Yes, and keep in mind that beta testers are not competing for first to 100, so
Right. We can't anymore. I
Well,
guess
I brought that up the last episode, was that kind of important line of like, we all have sat there and really tried to push information for the player base, and that's one thing that I try and make sure that I do is like transparency. If I find out something, I don't hide it from the community. I've literally put all of the gear that I have, all the information out to the public.
Right. Yeah.
And it's important that we do that, but at the same point, like finding that line of what you need to withhold, like you were talking about the new boss. Like, yeah, I agree with you. I don't think that we should, even to the point of not testing it. Like, no, we shouldn't be showing it to the community, because there is a line where we need to pull back just a hair.
Right. But how different is that than a new class? It's still new content. So what is any different than us showcasing how a boss works and how to defeat a boss compared to solving a class before it's released?
That's
Class.
completely
Just
different. That's completely different. That's completely different. That it makes no sense comparing those two things, in my opinion.
I would say to me, it's kind of the difference of the statement of solving it. The boss is, I'm going to say this, and it's not going to come out the way I want to, but the boss is one dimensional. There's a mechanic, you beat it, you move on. The class has all these different skills, potentials with items. There's far more that goes into solving the class, which is also, again, part of why I was like, I feel like it's more important for us to test the class than it is the new content, because there's so many potential things that could have been missed.
Mm-hmm. No,
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm definitely there where I think that, yes, we should be able to, but only because if we don't, then nobody knows, right? No, that information is not out to anyone. But wouldn't it be just as simple to NDA it, like put a few people that are NDA'd to go test that class, and then they can't play the season for a certain period of time, or they're required to be an SSF, and nobody knows who they are, so then it doesn't matter. We know that the class got tested, and it's still new content for everyone at time of release.
I don't think that's a problem, given the amount of people that we have in the CBT. Right now, we have more than 100 testers, so I don't see like any gatekeeping or any kind of thing like that.
Well,
so
it's not so much about gatekeeping as much as
yeah, I know,
new content actually being
yeah, I know, but like new content,
right? Because if we
like it's different, like a new character and a new boss, because like a new character, you don't need anyone to break it down for you. Like you can just read the class and you're gonna understand. It's right there. You just need to read the class and its skills. It's different than a boss. A boss is more like trial and error.
Boss is more competitive. It's more like a competitive kind of thing in the game, where people are trying to reach a goal faster, as where a class needs more eyes on it for the health of the game and the health of the class overall for the longevity of the season.
Right, which can be achieved through NDA, right? There can be people on it, but it not be streamed and have everyone know what this class does before it comes out. And in spirit of competitiveness of people, that there is still competition, even on a new class. The competition is people getting gear and people leveling up and people fighting within the economy, just as much as there's competition within killing a boss.
True. You could solve all of the testing with an NDA and solve all of those possible build testing or issues that you need to look out for in a class.
And
I
Yeah.
think it also, from a marketing perspective, it serves very well for the game to advertise the new class, even if it wasn't like there wasn't a cost to it or anything. It's good to show off the new content like that because it's going to be a big draw for people who like new classes.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, and you can advertise it
Well, and-
without showcasing it in that without streamers showcasing it on like I'm the main one that's done it. Like I've shown Stormweaver, I've shown Bard, I've shown all these classes to a degree, but for me it's always been a case where I had no restriction. I could show whatever I wanted, but at the same time it's like, am I really doing the community a disservice by doing this? To this degree. Like, yes, obviously I can test it and I can report bugs and I can do all of these things, but solving this class before it actually comes out, like, who does that actually help?
Well, and
The
there's
people who
there's
don't
another
really have a lot of
element.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. There is one other element that I feel like the game is at this particular moment, and it's gonna sound a little, it not for nothing, like especially for like Graxy and Sleepy. If you guys had an NDA, that I feel like would be a negative impact to the community because you guys are so prominent, especially early on in the season, for newer players and people to come and get answers. And I feel like at the point that the game is at this moment, it would actually be a bigger hindrance. I'm not saying that you're, in the future, NDAs might be a viable, thing, but I feel like where it's at right now, I think it would actually be a hindrance.
Yeah,
It's
I
a pretty
don't
good
see a
point. We've
problem.
talked about that
I-
before with not being able to stream stuff.
Mhm.
Like I don't see a problem like streaming the new class or any other content, the beta outside the boss that I think you guys won't have access to it. I think it won't be available on the CBT, so no one gets the like unfair advantage. Let's say
Mhm. Well,
just like we did with Amonra, but we're gonna do like lots of testing just to
mhm.
make sure it's not bugged. And so far, the testings are like we had some pretty good results with the testing. So
Yeah, and
I
I
don't I
think
don't see a I don't see a problem like streaming a class like unless you're like breaking the class down bit by bit, and then it might be a problem.
yeah. I mean,
Let's-
to Ben's
but
point
I-
here, where he says that it could be more of a hindrance, there's always a duality to this, right? There's always the opposite side where if I'm showing people everything the class does, it could prevent them from playing the game because they already know everything about the class. Why would they come play a new class if they already know everything about it? I've shown them the damage it can do. I've shown them so much about the class that they might just be like, nah, that doesn't sound appealing to me. I'm gonna go play Torchlight or whatever other game, Grim Dawn.
you
because-
you
That's
You
a good
probably-
point.
you probably won't be able. I'm just pulling this information out of my ass, by the way, because we have nothing confirmed about the CBT yet. So,
Mm,
but you won't be able to achieve the character's maximum power in the CBT. So that will like rely on in-house testing, at least so far.
right.
So
Well, and I don't think you need to
mean-
get maximum power in order for that to be achieved.
I'd say when you're looking at something like what you said is why would someone play it if they've seen it endlessly? They see the max power, they see the min max. I would say you could look comparatively to any other popular RPG on the market, like PoE, TLI. People look for those guides. They look for builds. They look for something set because you have the players who aren't interested in that deep, invested build crafting. They just want to know, like, hey, how do I do well with this class? What works? Cool. I want to go with that.
Yeah, and I think
I think the
ultimately
visual
was-
might be more appealing in that regard because a lot of people will do kind of what Slip was saying. They look for a build that's strong, but then they look for what looks fun, what they kind of are drawn to.
right, and that's always been ultimately my argument, right? Because I've had to go through this by myself of like, do I show this stuff or not? Like, where do I draw this line at for myself in the community? And that's ultimately where I came to is there's going to be way more people that are going to be in that situation than the latter, of course. So it makes more sense again to have that information out there and to allow people to play the game. Blah blah blah. There's going to be a much smaller percentage of players that are going to be like, meh, about that class had already being kind of shown a little bit. Then
As long as, again, my opinion, as long as you don't break the class down like bit by bit, I don't see a problem at all by streaming it.
Yeah. And assuming that nothing changes.
personally, I don't like um build guides for every class, not only new classes. I personally don't like in-depth build guides for any character before the season even starts. I don't like that because it kind of drives the market for specific items, drives the economy towards specific items. But like, I'm not. By the way, that's not a shit. I'm
No,
not
I know it's
cheating
not.
on you, Grexy.
No, I know you're
Because
not.
you do because you do starter guides and shit like that.
Yeah, I try to
That's
keep it a
okay.
bit more basic and try not to go too
That
in
and
depth.
that's I have the completely I have the completely opposite thoughts about that. I love this. I love this. This brings players like those lazy players that don't want to to use their brain cells or don't or just don't know how the game works. That helps them. But like if you do like the season starts, let's say on Friday, and by by Thursday, you already have a guide like breaking the class down. This is the best build ever. You just pick this point and this point and this node and that node and this node. That I don't like.
Yeah. Yep.
You need that accessibility, I think, in my opinion. You need that level of accessibility for players coming into a game fresh or who are extremely seasonal. That's how you keep a RPG alive.
Yeah. Yeah, the more content you have around it, the more people want to engage with the game. I as a player, like anytime I go and play a new game, it's just become kind of a habit that I just go and see, like, is anyone making content on this game? Like, or is it dead? Because that's the easiest way to know whether a game is dead or not, generally speaking, or that it has like a decent player base or people enjoy the game, because people don't want to make content on a game they don't enjoy. But yeah, I agree with Kat, having accessibility to these things, especially for newer players, and again, PS5 coming around, this stuff needs to be here because there's a lot of things in the game that just aren't explained. We kind of talked about this in the last episode. There's a lot of stuff that's not explained for newer players, so having access to this, some of this starter stuff is really important. But Ozzy, I know you got some stuff for us after that one.
Actually, not that much. One question of note, PBT Beanie Boy asks, could we ever imagine Hero Siege without character-specific skills, like akin to what PoE does with, maybe skill gems or socketing into gear, like let you choose your skills and your class?
I don't think it'll ever happen. The whole game would need a rework.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen because like we have like PoE basically just has one class. The difference between one class to the other is like where it starts on the tree and the ascensions. So in Hero Siege, no, we have like 20 plus classes and they are completely different from each other. So I don't think that's a thing that's going to happen.
New class? Holy, new class. You can pick any skills and any passives. I'm gonna be God, dude. I'm gonna have like Stormweaver teleport.
We call it the Scion.
Yeah, the Scion for Hero Siege.
That's an insane idea.
Class identity is important in games, I feel.
Yes, if you have like a class system, like we do, well, like let's be honest, Path of Exile's characters classes actually don't have like personality, but the Hero Siege does. So if you are going that route, I think we need to have like some uniqueness to each class.
Yeah, so we kind of touched on this a little bit too with like gatekeeping. Do we think there are any game designs that Hero Siege has that creates gatekeeping? Which is a tough question, but do we feel like there's any like actual game designs?
Honestly, I don't know how to answer that.
Like rune words, or Glasses.
Hmm.
I guess
I-
Other
I
than
don't-
the
I don't-
actual market or economy, I can't really think of something that heavily supports gatekeeping.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be anything like I would have said like last season. I would have said the lock of Inferno behind the Hell 5 bosses only as just a means that some players maybe not be able to hit that. But even that's a stretch. I mean, that's a tough question.
Well, and there could be nothing in the game that does. It's just kind of like I was thinking about it. I'm like, I wonder if there's any like anything that has created, like, obviously not intentionally, it's just unintentionally creates this gatekeeping by design. But I really don't think there's much. But in my head, I was thinking at the time, I was thinking Act 8 and the, you know, the daily quests and stuff. But
Nothing that would make the game worse from removing. Like you could say like a free trade auction house economy supports, or like a goal as a currency supports gatekeeping to get an advantage in the game for competitiveness. But like there's nothing that you'd want to get rid of. It would all make the game worse to try to clamp down on any gatekeeping.
mm-hmm. And it also kind of depends on how we define gatekeeping, because there's, obviously behavioral gatekeeping versus, like other types of gatekeeping, right? I don't know. That just kind of came up.
That is kind of the like. I mean, looking at like the actual content of the game. I mean, generally speaking, everything can be done with just a little effort. I would say the only thing that's like in the past, there's been gatekeeping when it comes to like builds or content out of like betas and whatnot. But game wise, especially with people creating information out there really shouldn't be any reason why any given player couldn't experience the entire game.
What about here's a fun one that I keep hearing about. What about players gatekeeping? Do we feel that it is anyone's responsibility to share information about their builds within a season? Because I get this one a lot. People come in here all the time, complaining that this game is filled with a bunch of players that gatekeep, right?
I don't think it's anyone's responsibility to share their builds. But like, if you're inside the CBT environment, and if you see like a skill that is supposed to be dealing like 1,000 damage, and it's dealing 1 trillion damage, and you don't report it, that's a no-no. But like, it's totally different from sharing your build. Like, you're just
I assume you mean excluding beta testing.
Excluding beta, 100%.
No. Excluding beta
Excluding
testing.
beta, you 100%.
That's not that's
You get kicked out for that.
No, of course.
No, but I just mean like
honestly, I like, I don't give a damn about what people do with their builds, unless they're playing like by the rules.
I think it just more speaks to like people. All like I said, they'll come into my chat or just see them around where they'll see people posting like their damage numbers and doing all sorts of stuff in the chats, the class discussions, but then they won't share anything about those builds. And it's not players being, I mean, the average player, it's not their job to inform you what it is that they're playing, right? There's obviously a difference between players being dicks and being gatekeepers.
Like,
yes, that's
things
true.
to that. When you look at the concept of gatekeeping builds in this game, one is, I agree, no one's job is to share their build. They're not under obligation to share what they're doing. They're, as content creators, it's different for us because that's our content partially.
Right.
But when it comes to why people have a problem with that, when you look at modern RPGs, almost every modern RPG, you can look up somebody's build on a third-party API aggregate site. So you have that access. It's very hard for people to gatekeep as much as you can in a smaller community. So since we're such a small community and the game's still growing, there's a lot of concern about like, oh, where do I find that build? And things are gate kept.
Yep. Yeah, I can agree.
Even unintentionally. Like that's a really good point of, sometimes it's people just don't even know. They don't know they don't know you exist. They don't know that your build is even there. I mean, I've still had people come in, like, oh yeah, I'm, trying to play this build, and they don't even know to go to the chat discussion in the Heroes Teach Discord. So it's not even that it's intentionally gate kept, it's a lack of a clear path to good information.
And I think that's kind of that's what I have in my notes. Literally, what Kat said is, again, I think a lot of these situations can be removed if we have a way to actually inspect other players. Pretty much every ARPG that I play, like TLI has it, hell, PD2 has it, where you can see literally anything that another player is wearing, to this point where it's like we don't have people really just being dicks to other players is what it comes down to. As well as
try to be on the other side. Try to be the dick one who's trying to hide the build. You don't want your build to be shared across like the entire community, because
yeah, but we're not talking about people that are just average playing the game. We're talking about people that are in Discord gloating about their build.
Most of those people, like those people that shows like insanely huge number on the fucking DPS dummies. Those are most of them, like 90% of them are just using offline mode with some kind of editing tool to level up the augments to level 1 billion, just to glaze the fucking huge numbers to bait everyone else. So
yeah,
there's also that.
But they can't bait us if we can inspect them.
I will say, Greg,
well, I guess they can still bait you, but
right.
we can prove them wrong.
Yeah, I think I have kind of a unique view on this, maybe, where you guys might agree with this, at least from a content creator standpoint. You were asking, like, is there an obligation in that? And like, in terms of as a content creator, yes, I 100% believe that we do. If I'm going to put a guide out, then yes, I am obligated to go through and not withhold information. That's at least the way that I see it. If I'm going to put a guide out for something, then I need to be transparent. It's not just about the community, but at that point, it's like I need to. I don't know. Me personally, I see that as like shady if I don't do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody have any additions to this section? I feel like I ask a lot of questions, and I know you guys probably have some stuff that maybe you've written down in general. So by all means, if you want to ask me some stuff or put some questions around, go for it. But we're kind of done on this section. So Ozzy, I don't know if you have anything.
I do not.
Okay. Actually, real quick, I've seen this question actually now I think 2 or 3 times. If you don't mind.
Yeah, by all means.
From Stress Away, he actually just put it in again. What if the OP is found outside of the beta? And I think this will be really quick, but worth it.
What if the OP is found outside of the beta? Well, we're not talking within the beta to begin with. We're talking about the live season.
No, he was in reference to trying to remember exactly what the first question asked it. We were talking about like withholding super strong builds from the community, like in the beta, and we were talking about that. And it's like, well, that needs to be reported, Fumu was saying, and it should be. Yeah. But what if it's found after the beta to where it's now live? And I think that also kind of falls in that same, like, it should be reported. At least for those of us that
you can't hold players obligated to report anything, because realistically, most players don't even know half the time that they're playing with something bugged. Like, we can't, especially the more casual players and the average player, they don't have any idea that they're playing with some bug skill that's doing too much damage or has some interaction that's wrong. If somebody is like going out of their way to exploit the game, that's kind of different. But just playing a build that's too strong, no, they're not 100% obligated to do anything. The devs put the game out in that state.
Yeah, and that's a really good point and valid. invalid. Like the average
Yeah.
player, yes, you're right. They're not obligated to do that. I mean, we could sit there and be like, oh, well, they really should, but they're not obligated. You're right.
Yeah.
Especially in a live season where there's like that competitive level, you're not going to find your average player being like, "Hey, I found a way to make millions and millions and millions of gold, and I can now buy whatever I want." They're either going to not assume it's a bug, or even if they knew it's kind of on the level of a bug, like it depends how big of a bug it is. Like your average person is going to not always err on the side of I'm going to immediately report this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take Necromancer as an example. Necromancer has been bugged for many seasons, and no one knew it was bugged until Elias found it.
Fucking Fuma. What was it? Just out of curiosity. Was it teeth or a meat bomb?
Nah, they're the summons. They were bugged. They were like double dipping, triple dipping, or whatever.
Oh, that patch note from like last season.
Yeah.
I feel like the biggest bug in the game that nobody wants to
But
address is that
they've been bugged for
was the-
many seasons now, but they are now fixed. So
Yeah.
same. I think same goes for sentry damage as well. Sentry skills.
one of the biggest bugs still in the game though is the fact that Nomad's still in there.
I heard they're
Say it again.
deleting
Yeah, can we
Nomad.
get someone to fix it?
Say it again.
I swear to God, Nomad. The star for Nomad is so trash. It might be the worst character. Like people talk about Butcher being bad. Try and play a physical Nomad at the start of the game. Jesus Christ.
It's sheer
Didn't
pain.
Fuma just do a run through on that?
It's sheer pain. Doing a 1 to 16 Nomad is sheer pain.
Oh,
it's
God,
like
it's terrible.
it's the real CBT. The cock and ball torture.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Let's talk about the market and some economy changes, right? So those of us that aren't aware, the devs are service-siding gold and items for season 9, right? I mean, honestly, at this point, chat, it's really a crusade against the cheaters, right? It is ultimately what it comes down to, because the reason we didn't get 8.5 is it doesn't make any sense to reset the season. Well, I kind of disagree with this, but it doesn't make any sense on their side to reset in an economy that's just going to be bricked within a couple of days from duping and cheating, right? So at least for the people that play trade, it doesn't make any sense. So again, one of the things that they're doing is server-siding items in gold to help with this issue, hopefully solving duping and the reason that most of us really don't play trade, right? So that's huge.
Yeah.
And
Trading this game is so good, and the potential of it is so high.
yeah, that's really where I was kind of wanting to go with is there's just so much of the trade side that I as a player would love to engage with, and I've tried for 7 seasons, but it actually just came to a point where I couldn't even play trade anymore, like the main part of the game. And this really kind of brings in with blood packs too, where blood packs were never meant to be the game mode that everyone plays because trade is a dupe fest. Blood packs are meant to be a way for obviously private events where people can, they can play in their own little leagues, or they later on after the season starts, they can play in a league. But the idea of them was to do more like gauntlet based things and be able to hold events within them and not become the secondary game mode. But it's kind of getting off topic a little bit with the market and stuff. So let's kind of draw back from there. What do you guys think are some of the biggest issues with the market right now? Like if you were to go and open up the auction house, or just the market in general, outside of duping and all that sort of stuff, some issues with the current market.
Search functionality and general clunkiness of actually like looking up items with multiple affixes.
Yes, I think that's the main issue.
Yeah, that's what I have. Nothing's alphabetized. Like you go up and open up the stat window, and it's like, huh? Nothing is organized at all. I mean, it's organized to us that have played the game before, right? Like some of the attack stuff's together, some of the res stuff is together, kinda, right?
Yeah.
So that's all messed up. I fortunately or unfortunately haven't played trade that much, right? Like when I do play trade, normally only play it for 2 or 3 days and then it dies. So it's like I don't really play it. And even when I do play trade, I don't actually trade. I just play in a GSF. The only reason I played trade like the last 4 seasons is because my friends played in trade. And I wanted to play with my friends. But after like 2 or 3 days, I went to SSF or a Blood Pact. So it's really going to come
Searching
down
is miserable in that.
Maybe-
You'll have full stashes of items you just never search because you just don't feel like.
right.
I think another thing that would really help, especially for the average player, would be a way to go through and modify the pricing of items that you already have instead of having to pull them out, research. Like, it does feel like a chore if you have all of your slots filled and you go, man, nothing is sold in 2 days. I need to redo everything. And you go, ugh, I don't want to spend the next 20 minutes doing that. Like a more smoother transition to modifying pricing might be something to work with. Or search the item that you already have to modify the price.
Right. So I see when you're in your list, there would be like a button on the right side. You just click edit and then just change the price and it auto updates like that. Or now that we have, the price checker, right? Maybe even have a button that allows you to recheck the price of current listings of it to, I guess reprice it in that case.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, I don't use it enough. I know it got like a UI overhaul. I've looked at it somewhat recently, and I thought the UI looked pretty good. Like
Yeah,
when
the
you
UI,
first
the
open it
UI,
up.
the UI is way better than it was before.
Yeah.
But functionality wise, it's pretty much the same. We need like some sort of search for FXs, not FX, but for stats. We need multiple stats, like you be able to pick multiple stats when searching for an item and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm just
Like
writing
basic
notes.
basic functionality.
What do you guys think about having an NPC in every town for the auction house? I hear this one all the time. I kind of
No,
like that Act 3 is the
Elias-
only place the trade is. Like, it makes sense.
Yeah, Elias said something way like I'd say 3 months ago or something around that. That he plans to move everything to one place so you can have this sort of hideout from Path of Exile.
Okay, so that is
So-
still okay. That's something that I was curious about if we're ever gonna get some sort of
Yeah,
centralized hub.
I don't know if it's still an idea. I don't know, but
Yeah.
he mentioned it.
Well, even from a monetization standpoint, where the company obviously needs to make money, and the players obviously want to have good things to buy and not be some pay to win crap, right? Having people love hideouts. People absolutely fucking love hideouts. They will go
Oh, yeah,
crazy.
dude.
Have you seen
Yeah.
some of the hideouts in like Elder Scrolls Online? There was one I saw. This dude literally built fucking Atlantis. Like his entire hideout was underwater. It was sick. He spent thousands. Like I think that one hideout cost that man like 50 grand. It was absolutely insane. Now, obviously, that's a whale perspective, but people just in general love hideouts. They love having trophies to put in their hideouts and just all the different ways that they can customize it. So, yeah, just another opportunity.
It's huge. You look at games in these days, especially look at like World of Warcraft just added player housing, something the most requested feature for years. People love having a space that's editable of their own.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And the more detailed and edited you can make it, the more the players will gravitate towards it.
Basically, what I'm saying is make a sand hideout and charge Fuma per piece of sand in it.
Yes.
So cool thing, we have Samurai, Paladin, Amazon, Demon Slayer, Demon Spawn, Shaman. All these classes are going free. In the existing DLCs bought before now. So if you bought in these classes, you're gonna get a skin or a HUD, cause a thing, right? A HUD item, whatever. There's something you're gonna get in return for purchasing these classes. I'm gonna kind of pat myself on the back a little bit just because this just is me just talking in the beta one day about how there's 10,000 DLCs, and I made my video like kind of analyzing some of the negative reviews, and from that it's turned these classes into going free. So, and it's not just me, you guys as well. I know Ben and Kat, both of you had talked about this as well in the beta when I kind of brought it up. So kind of kudos to all of us. I'm gonna give us all kind of a pat on the back there. And some other monetization changes, 24 character slots by default instead of 21. So you're going to have one character slot for each class. As well as there's the prices for the stash tab, inventory tabs, character slots, the market space, unique stash tabs. All these are being lowered, as well as there's regional pricing for those of you in Brazil. Right, so just Brazil? Or anybody that uses...
Brazil.
Sorry, I'm ignorant when it comes to like pricing. And like I see the
Yeah, it's just for
currency, and I'm like, I'm
Brazil.
pretty sure that's just Brazil. I don't know. Does anybody else use a Brazilian?
It is just something about Brazil, dude.
No. It's Brazil only.
Okay. So regional pricing
For now,
for
at
them.
least. For now, at least.
I'll be honest with you. So huge, right? That all this stuff is going down in price and that sort of thing, and they're leaning more towards cosmetics and all that. Love that. One thing I will say about the tabs, whenever I bought the material tab, I actually expected it to be like an organized material tab. Like anytime you bring up the word currency tab to somebody in the ARPG world, like they assume that you're going to be able to organize your stash, or that's going to have like a predetermined place for everything, like keys and runes and all these different things. And it's just like an empty tab. Did anybody else just kind of feel scammed when they bought that tab?
Yeah, we are aware of that, and I can't say when or if it will be fixed, quote unquote, but we are aware and we are working on fixing it at some point, like making it more PoE style, like where every item has its own slot, like the unique tab does.
Okay. Yeah, and I think there's a lot of opportunity here too, because this is a design choice that PoE went with, or a monetization structure they went with, is a new league would come out and they would have, currency specific stuff, whatever. And I'm not saying they intentionally created problems. Do you guys like remember Harvest League with having like quad tabs full of Hortocraft stations and like those sorts of things? And then the next season, a new league mech specific tab comes out where you're able to store all of these things and like solves your problem. Again, I'm not saying they intentionally did that, but that's what they did for a while. A league would come out, there would be a bunch of like issues with organizing some of the currencies, and then the next season a tab would come out that would allow you to store that stuff.
Yes.
And I think now they've gone away from that model to being just like, here's the tab that comes with the season. And I think for a season or two it was paid, and then now I think they just give it to you. But I still think that there's some opportunity there. Like, for example, the current league mechanic, we have all the cards everywhere, and they're not organized really. They just kind of hang out in your stash usually forever. Could have been an opportunity to have a stash that specifically went with that league mechanic.
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to find the fucking image, so give me a second on this one.
I agree with you on that, Graxy. I think right now, I think that's more of a like maybe in a season or two, because there's so much change. That's such a big thing right now that we're seeing. But I hope that actually comes to fruition. I think that would be great for the game and the community overall.
And so I guess, do we as players, and this is more of a question kind of for everyone, do we as players find this structure to be healthy and an okay thing within the game? Do we feel like anyone's gonna, or people are just gonna hate the system?
Graxy, check your DMs. In fact, I'm gonna send it in this voice chat.
Hate the system of like paid tabs.
Look at this. Look at this. Like, that's something. Don't show it on stream, please. That, like, we're basically moving towards that spot at some point.
I still feel like it's good. Yeah, I still feel like it's going to be in a situation where it that's not serving the purpose that it needs to serve. Like, it's okay, but it's kind of a whole other topic. It's not. I can't show it.
Elias made that shit like in like 10 minutes or so. So it's
going back to what
pretty alpha
is would people be okay with that structure? Not so much the tabs themselves. I don't think people are against having league specific tabs, but having them paid, having a paid league specific tab. I really don't see why we would have any pushback. I think it's, again, more opportunity for the business to, because at the end of the day, Hero Siege needs to make money, right? In order for them to continue putting out good content as well as not firing employees, right? And be able to hire some new employees and that sort of thing and grow as a company. Because that's ultimately, I think, what we all want. We want the game to succeed and to continue to grow and get bigger, right?
Yeah.
I think things for QOL are fine. I think paid things for just QOL or cosmetic are always fine as long as the advantage is not too heavy. And something just like paid tabs to sort certain items automatically is totally fine. The pushback on that would be really non-genuine if it was there.
Yeah, it can't be something that has
I
like
agree.
obvious pay to win to it. If it's just like a better way to sort your inventory, some people might argue it's pay to win, but they're eating Tide Pods.
If you're talking needing a tab to sell items, then it's a different conversation.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Blah, blah, blah. So I guess to skip over here, what are some monetization ideas or maybe some structures that would build a healthy relationship between players and the studio? What, like, obviously league specific tab, this was one that we talked about. The currency tabs are a good option. Hideouts were another great option.
Yeah. One thing I've been thinking for a long time now, like I'd say for 6 to 7 seasons, maybe, it's for like let the player to be able to like select a model from one skin and the skill effects from another skin. Because if you, let's say, if you buy the supporter pack for the season, you can't use the MTX from your other skins, so you'd just be using the default effect. So that's kind of a bummer. You paid bank for like the supporter pack, so it would be nice to select a model for one skin and the skill effects from other skin.
I remember Elias talking about he really wanted to implement that into the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it opens up way more creativity of not having to just like make a skin for one particular class, and only the people that are playing that one class are ones that, and if it's not meta, not whatever, are only going to buy that skin at that time. Versus if you have a skin that works for every class, yeah, sure, like maybe you're skimping yourself because they're able to use that one skin on all the classes. But at the same time, I don't know. I just feel like me as a player, I would be more willing to buy more skins because I can use them on any class. I don't feel like I'm locked into it being on one class. Yeah, and same thing with like Herald and Aura effects. I still don't know how it was the Jotun League and we didn't get a freaking Herald of Ice MTX.
Yeah, it's because Herald in Hero Siege is not as well defined as in PoE. Like we had like Hero Siege Herald are basically like after kill explosions. They are not heralds, so to speak. They're not so well defined. So
why not? And I understand that a season comes out, and a lot of times they're working on the next season. I get that, but wouldn't it kind of make sense for them to pay attention to the game and the meta and what's going on, and do what PoE does? Drop a skill effect for the skill that people are playing, or the skills, or an MTX. Like, well, there's literally nothing wrong with it. If you have 80%, 70%, whatever percent of your player base playing a particular class or skill, there's nothing wrong with giving them cosmetics after the season starts. In my opinion,
it's just smart marketing.
It's good marketing, and it just seems like, once again, an opportunity that's just being missed out on their side. So that
I feel like this is one of those things that like we especially could really help kind of give like, hey, I've been testing with this class, and like these 3 abilities visually look really cool, and I'm getting a lot of exciting feedback in my testing from like live streaming or putting out teasers. These may be ones that you may want to put consideration into making something special for in preparation for the season. So that could, kind of help get ahead of the curve.
Yeah. And I think this really speaks to, like, I can prove why this is such a good strategy as well, because when I go and look at launch day for season 8, like I look at my viewership and just everything in general, right? It was a good season. Then I go and look at a week later, whenever Twitch drops happened, right? I had like twice the amount of viewers and people that were checking out Hero Siege because of the drop, more than I did the actual launch of the season, right? So people love skins. They love these sorts of things, and it just
By the way,
good.
that skin is dope. So kudos to Mika, because that skin is freaking awesome.
The drop skin and the content creator skin, both of those were dope.
Yes.
I just
Mika
wish,
never failed.
I'll be honest with you, I kind of wish they were paid.
Yeah.
If they were that good. Like, obviously I love having free stuff, don't get me wrong, but like those seemed like paid skins to me versus I think the paid skin that we got was was it Tank or that Demon Slayer dude with a cut, and I forgot who he is, but he's from one of their other games. I think we should
I think we should like add, instead of like an entire skin, or maybe a skin set with wings and shit and portraits, we can add like other games do. For example, PoE sometimes do like an aura effect, a shield skin, something minor, because like you're saying, they're too good to be free. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to be like a gold digger or anything, but like it would be cool. Like if you look to any other game, they just give you minor stuff basically. They don't give you a thick ass skin that looks insanely good for free just by watching stream for X amount of hours.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be a full skin. It could just be a shield.
Yeah,
it could be a sword. It could be, and you could do that stuff.
Aura skin, a portal skin, everything basically. Explosion is MTX.
Well, the topic of monetization and stuff that you can buy, when we were just talking, Graxy, about what are some things you could add.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think of, just off the top of my head, an idea? You know the little icons you can earn next to your name for like going through wormhole levels?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
What about adding paid icons that can show up next to your name?
That's kinda, I don't know. That's kind of a great area, because you can only see the icon next to your name inside the game if you have the Hero Siege Plus. So that's kind of a gray area to sell an NTX for a subscription. It's kind of a bummer. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if that was pulled into the base game, though, you could then monetize icons next to names.
Yeah, and what about the Hero Siege Plus?
Oh, speaking of which, and QOL, so the icon could show on the minimap, so you can know who is who based off of that icon. Second thing,
awesome.
Second thing with that, why the fuck can I not see a player's name on the minimap? Guys, I'm colorblind. I can't tell who the hell is who. It drives me insane. Can we please get their fucking name above their icon?
I've heard from Elias that minimap things like use a lot of.
I don't care.
Like
Take
CPU and stuff.
Use all of my CPU power and give me the name.
I'm not a programmer, so I wouldn't know.
You know what, Fuma?
Raxy, we just fixed performance.
Jesus, that's driven me insane. But that's a great idea. Actually, having a little icon next to their name instead of it being like the plus sign. Just get rid of that and allow people to have, I don't know, a sleepy cat icon. I wouldn't fit, but some sort of icon next to their name, and then that icon could show on the mini app. Would be awesome. Rendering player names in minimap takes no CPU. I swear, for 8 seasons I've been malding. And I remember it every time because I go and play PD2 and I'm like, oh my god, I can see everyone's fucking name. It's so great.
Well, even just like going through for like MTX, adding in the same item, like the same visual, like wings, adding in the same visual wing, but changing the color scheme or allowing for the purchase of like a pack, a pack of different colors.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's plenty of people who would love that, especially at the right color. Just like, hey, for an extra $1, you can have additional colors.
Yeah, and I think Kat is actually one that said this. He's like, the fact that this game doesn't have an alt gender and furry skin for every class is its biggest like.
I didn't say furry skin.
I'm pretty sure you said alt gender and furry skin.
I did not add that last part.
Something to that effect. But I mean, that's so true. Like, people love furries and people love alt gender, right? So.
Well, yeah, that was the point of like the new skins too. The gender bent skins are just strong marketing, strong monetization. People love like heavy variations of those classes.
That's true.
Hero Siege Plus should be re-rolled into premium tabs, being able to rename them, etc., and affinities. Affinities would be great, having with like certain currency tabs. I would love that.
You can rename the tabs if you have Hero Siege Plus.
Yeah. Ozzy, you got anything for us?
Not in regards to monetization.
Okay. Oh, one more thing on my notes here. I don't know what my note is about. To be honest with you, it was about some automated ether tree stuff, but I don't think that really matters anymore. Basically, I just want to make sure that we don't want systems and designs that are put into the game that automate certain things. Like, for example, making the new ether tree automated based off of what content that you're going and up against. Like, maybe you're going to go do a chaos pillar, maybe you're going to go do an unstable rift, and then the new ether tree, which, by the way, those who don't know the ether tree, is basically like the Atlas passive tree. It'll automatically change to a certain loadout because you're engaging with certain content. To me, at that point, you might as well just get rid of the tree and give everybody increased drop rates, or give everybody whatever they wanted for that mechanic. Because like you're not, there's no player agency there whatsoever. I
already
hate that.
Yeah, it takes away the purpose of it.
That was something that happened in the beta chat where I saw people like almost BMing the dev team into making automated an automated ether tree, and it's like, why the fuck are we talking
are there
about
loadouts
this?
for it though?
There might be.
Happening.
I have no clue.
It's not happening.
Okay,
it's not happening.
So it might not happen, but that's kind of besides the point. The fact that it would be
with the loadouts, you still have to decide and click them.
Yeah, exactly. You can like build them out, but then you're like, I'm gonna run this content, run that content, or whatever. It's very like TLI in that way. TLI does that, and it's based off like pets. Like, you'll hit a certain mechanic, and your pets will automatically change to work with that mechanic.
That brings up a topic that might be a little off topic, or a question I have for you guys.
Yeah.
Do you think that the new passive tree should have loadouts?
The incarnation tree?
Yeah.
It was something that I think I brought up too. I think that for sure you should be able to import, export, build, but loadouts, I don't know. Personally, I think people should have to respec on the tree. I don't think it should, like, the tree shouldn't just be a free thing. Maybe for the first season it becomes a free thing because obviously we're all still like engaging with it for the first time. But I still kind of like the idea of having to respec and there be some like cost on the player side to be able to do that versus having loadouts to just allow people to change. Or maybe like each loadout itself just costs. That's fine too.
Yeah, I was talking just like that, exactly like that. Like, my idea was, if you want to not respect, but change loadout, you have to pay the entire cost of a full respec, basically. So you won't be going back and forth.
One of the reasons I ask is because the way a lot of classes in Hero Siege work is they have completely different specs and abilities they use for clear and for killing bosses, to the point where some will be incapable of killing bosses with that clear skill.
No. That's up to the player to make a balance. Like, that's up to the player to make a more of a boss, or more of a map blaster, or more of a all-rounder class. It's up to the player, in my opinion.
But economically, you need both 100%.
Yes, but you can make you guys have no idea how much power the new tree gives you. So you won't be stuck because I can't kill the boss because I went with the farming tree. That's not gonna happen. It's so fucking out of power. just from experience alone.
I think
That's why I nerfed
eventually,
every. That's why I nerfed every XP item.
yeah, I think eventually
EXP.
you'd probably get to that point, but I think for people either like they're like trying to get that power, like the first 60 levels, that won't be the case because they have to build their tree. It's not like they have their whole tree at level 100. So while they're trying to push
Just re-
through Hell 1, having to kill all the bosses, they will be in a situation where they're going to have their main AoE skill and they will have another skill that they use to kill bosses that will need a different tree or would generally want a different tree. I mean, there's a lot of these like skills and augments that have around the same tags or around the same, they're the same damage types or whatever. So like, it's not going to be like you're completely, not going to be able to do damage because you're not in your single target tree, but there will obviously be more setups, like maybe more specifically within the skill tags, right? You're going to be using a different skill that has skill tags that directly work with being able to do single target with whatever augment. So I kind of agree with Kat on that one.
I just think people want more options. And if you lock them to one tree, like I definitely think there should be a cost to having a second tree if you were to give it a loadout. But
Yes,
people are going to
that's
not want to be locked into one build entirely for everything. Because then you're just going to have people respeccing constantly, which may be the intent for a good gold sync. But it's something I know I've seen a lot of people talk about.
Again, my opinion, if we're gonna have some sort of a loadout, it definitely should have a cost to change it. Because I don't know, I just find it pointless to have, like, you have this whole, oh, I need to choose my path kind of thing, but then you can go respecing at your own will, like every time you want. I don't think it's a good thing.
Beanie Boy kind of has a good idea with, so we already have the loadouts that are above the skill tree. Just make, like, say you're on your first loadout, you build your tree on that specific loadout and, whatever else is in there with your skill and everything. When you click the number 2, it does change to a different tree with whatever skill that you chose for that section. Like see what I mean? So that, and you can change, you can change between those for free. I think that's okay. Changing between those two skill trees wouldn't cost anything, but changing the actual tree within those loadouts would. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does make sense.
I think that would be the best case scenario because it allows you to have a single target setup. It allows you to have an AoE setup. If you want to change those skill trees that you have on loadout 1 and 2, there would be a cost for that, but there won't be a cost to just switch to your single target skill.
I don't know. We need to test that. We need to test it in beta first.
It might not be possible right now and for next season. But
because your guys are kind of like, if you really take a look at the tree, you're gonna see that most of the points, let's say, that focus on AoE, they also give you damage. They don't just give you AoE. They give you AoE and damage.
yeah, but so does the single target skill.
You won't be.
The single target skill also gives you damage, and it also is a single target skill because it has more damage than the AoE skill. That's why you're using it for single target.
My consideration for that is like,
but my opinion, that's a player's problem, not a developer's problem. In my opinion, it's up to you to make a build. Like I said, a boss killer, a map blaster, an all rounder. It's like this for every game. So I don't know. And again, it's not up to me. If Elias wants to sell Incarnation 3 loadouts,
yeah, that's fair.
So be it.
Yeah, it's a fair take. I'm not saying your take is wrong or anything.
It's not incorrect. I just want to see it in testing because it was more a question of like, I know there's a ton of power in the tree, but is the tree so powerful that even if you're playing a map blaster, you're going to one-shot a boss as if you were playing full single target? That's what we need to see and feel out.
Yeah.
And if that's okay, and then the loadout conversation comes after.
Yeah, for sure. Because we're speaking from in the dark for sure. Okay. Ozzy, you got anything for us?
Nothing since now.
You cut out super bad there. I think you said no as of right now. One thing I did have with monetization that I have written in my notes, kind of going backtracking a little bit, is battle passes. How do we feel about battle passes? Because I know this was talked about before, and it's something that I brought up. Is like, wasn't there like a battle pass where you have a freemium section, you can have a paid one, and the paid one obviously just comes with cosmetics, that things that people can also try to achieve through the season, or just have, I know they have season achievements now where you can do like the Grail and get all the different titles and stuff. But one big thing that people love about PoE1 is having seasonal achievements and being able to work towards specific things within that season. And if we're trying to increase the longevity that players are playing the game, why not give them targetable goals that they can try to go and achieve to get, rewards or whatever it may be, right? And maybe not specifically a battle pass situation, but like having some sort of challenges or achievements on a seasonal basis, I feel like would super elongate the amount of time people play a season.
I can't go that deep within that subject, but it's been discussed, and yeah, I can't go much deeper. But yeah, it's on the table.
Okay.
Already.
And that's
What do you
that's
guys,
good to hear. Sorry.
Oh no worries. Yeah. Oh, what do you guys think about like seasonal titles specific to the season that you earn by completing challenges?
Yeah, I mean that could be part of the
Yeah,
challenges that come with it. Mm-hmm.
That's basically tied with what Grexy said.
Yeah, and it's no different than when, like, if you go on the PoE forums, which I don't very often, but if you ever do, and somebody posts something on the PoE forums, on the right, you see they're like 10,000 supporter packs. It's kind of the same idea, right? It's like a gloaty thing almost, which I'm all for the challenges too, but also where we're 9 seasons in, we're kind of missing the first 9. Hello. Of my titles. I need my 9 titles. But I mean, I still think it would be a good idea. I also didn't like the fact that I remember back in like season 1 or season 2 beta, whenever we were trying to come up with like league names and season names, how that was dismissed. And it's just like season 9, season 8, season 6. Like, I feel like having actual names to them would have been a good idea. Hell, we would have come up with them ourselves. But I don't know. I think at the time,
I like the idea of season names personally, and then you could tie them into the titles.
Yeah. I think the reason for it at the time was, I remember Elias saying that he didn't want to do season mechanics and it wasn't because like he hated season mechanics, but because it creates a situation where if you create a season mechanic that players engage with on a per season basis, they now expect it every season. And for such a small dev studio, it's like hard to create that expectation that you're going to have season mechanics every season that are new and fresh and blah, 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 was the main reason before. But, brother, we had season mechanics every season. Absolutely wild. But yeah, almost like every single concern players have are on the list, though it's a lot of stuff. I think people will be a lot happier next season just because of the cheating hopefully going away. For sure. Yeah. That's definitely true. Okay. And then does anybody have any other things to bring up with among monetization or pay to win or just anything that we have here?
By the way,
They're good.
Talking about pay to win, just let me be clear that Magic Find Aura for the Prophet's not happening. So
it's actually, that's what I was going to bring up next. Yeah. The new class.
It's not gonna happen.
New class is having Magic Find on them in general.
Happen.
Yeah.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
And the main reason I didn't bring it up is I just know your guys' stances, and Elias had said that it wasn't going to have it, so it's like, kind of doesn't really matter talking about it. But since you brought it up, it's definitely just bad practice to have that on classes going forward that are paid. Whether or not 200 Magic Find, 50% Magic, it doesn't matter what the value is, because people have argued like, oh, the Magic Find doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. I'm like, but to a casual player or a new player, or just players in general, it does, because they have an in-game advantage regardless of what that advantage is. I mean, we're going to agree with that. So
yeah.
Yeah, and I guess maybe we can talk about blood packs a little bit, right?
Yeah.
I do want to do like an actual full blood pact episode. I think there's a lot to talk about when it comes to blood packs and just different ideas and things I have with it. But it kind of comes in the same thing with pay to win, I guess, is there's a lot of players that think blood packs are pay to win, and that Pentagar Studios deliberately scuffs the seasons in order to get people to buy blood packs, right? And that you can only find items in blood packs.
I might need to start drinking to understand that take.
Yeah.
I
Let
swear,
me put my let me put my tinfoil hat on.
I swear I just had a YouTube comment about the game is only playable in blood packs, blah blah blah, and like from a drop standpoint, and it's like you do know that the guy that's going for a Grail right now has dropped over 200 angelics since the start of the season. How long has the season been live?
Dude,
What, 3 months?
that's I don't know. I really don't know how you guys are so
In
have that kind of
SSF.
skill issue. That's you guys are so skill issued. It's so easy to drop angelics. I've dropped 7 in one day.
Well, and I think it's yeah.
It's easy. Just kill things.
I don't know if it's
I
just like
I get it.
Yeah, I don't even know where the take comes from. I don't know if it's just players like don't actually play the game, think that the leagues or the blood packs are part of the actual league. But people like they think that they can go pay money to get more drops, which they can technically. But it has nothing to do with the main league. And
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Do we
that-
think that blood packs are causing players to crash out earlier?
I don't think so.
Crash out of trade specifically.
Just crash out of the
Or the
game.
game.
Crash out of the league specifically.
I don't think so.
I don't think those people would play the game any more than they do, and I think if anything, they probably get a higher level of satisfaction out of their time spent because maybe they have more limited time or they want to play specifically in one way.
Yes.
Yeah. And there's some argument to be made that playing in a blood pact obviously gives you more drops. You can pay to get more drops, and that ultimately will allow you to get through the game faster, which ultimately allows you to quit the game faster. But I would argue with that. It's like the player made that choice. They chose to join that league. They chose to slide the sliders up. They're playing the game the way that they want to. Are they going to crash
Yes.
out faster? Yeah, probably
Yeah.
in that situation versus like an SSF player. Maybe not versus a trade player, but just in general, yes, their experience is going to be faster, but they wanted that experience.
Yes.
So, and I think
I think
that's
too people who might have that take about blood packs, like they don't look at trade characters. Like go look at your average trade player a weekend versus a blood pack character a weekend.
yeah. It's actually insane how people think that blood packs just like rain loot from the sky, and you just basically are playing Diablo 3. I swear to God, they think we're playing D3 the entire time, and then, dude, it's insane. We have like a 250 player blood pact, and the amount of items that we had for our players and the people in our group comparatively to like just any casual or average player in trade, it's not even close. People are so juiced in trade, it's crazy. Now obviously some of this has to do with the cheating that happens too, but so if blood packs were removed tomorrow, would the game be better or worse?
Worse. Taking away player agency and options is always worse for a game.
Worse. 100% worse.
I truly believe that blood pack saved Hero Siege. Like I think the cheater epidemic that happened, and especially this year, like in 2025, the cheater epidemic like really hit hard and became like a very known thing amongst the community. Part of that's me, right, and Kat and Ben and all of us streaming it and talking about it and bringing it up in the chat, and it's really shined in 2025 because the reality is this isn't new. The cheating has been here since Foom and I fucking started playing this game, right? It's not like a brand new thing. So yeah, hopefully with the server side itemization, we can see less players hosting blood packs and just kind of engaging with trade for longer. Because like I said, blood packs are just never meant to be the alternative. They're never meant to be a band-aid for cheaters either. And I think that's kind of what it's become.
Yeah.
So, should the sliders in a blood pact only go negative, only make the game harder?
I don't think so. The guy,
Ben,
like,
I think
if
you're muted, Ben.
if the person paid for it, I would. It might be a hot take, but like, if the guy paid for it, I would go like boost your angelic drop rates to 10,000%. I don't care. Like, it's your money, you paid for it, so do as you wish. My opinion.
You just let people have fun.
Yeah.
Let them have
Mhm.
fun. They play the game their way.
Yeah, I remember whenever blood
Exactly.
packs were like first being created and chat going crazy that you can make the game easier, you can increase drop rates and blood packs and blah blah. They should only make the game harder. But yeah,
You have the option to make the game harder, but you also have the option to make the game easier. It's up to the player. Like I said, it's your money, so you're gonna play the game as you want.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So yeah, there's really no patch notes on blood packs. There's nothing like that I can really talk about much more than that. Again, I do have like more stuff that I want to go through when it comes to blood packs, so that'll be just kind of its own episode. Ozzy, do you got anything for us?
We do have a few miscellaneous questions. Most of these have been saved. Jordy asks, will we still be getting a fishing system? They remember seeing something about that in the patch notes.
Fishing
Yes,
would be
and-
kind of dope. I ain't gonna lie. I don't even like fishing, but fishing in Hero Siege might be kind of dope.
Who knows? I guess we'll never know.
All right, write that one down, Elias. Fishing. People.
Can we get cooking after
Maybe-
that too?
Let's cook it right now.
Fishing, who knows? All right.
Maybe yes, maybe no.
What are we gonna
We
fish
once
for?
again have Dragon's Dogma fanboy asking, and this was somewhat touched on earlier with the challenges, but with the new anti-cheat and intention to prevent duping, etc., are there plans to bring back or add new competitive features or rewards, like wormholes?
I'll reply to this as I don't work at Pandemic Studios, but I do know that Elias has said so many times that the wormhole thing will never come back. And as far as I know, and again, I can't speak for them, but the wormhole thing is supposed to be turned into a different system entirely.
Yeah. I can't go deep into
Yeah.
that aspect. But
I know you
yeah,
can't,
it's on the table already.
So I know that people really enjoyed getting a reward for hitting wormhole hunt or being top in the wormholes, but unfortunately, it just seems like it's always just been kind of like, I don't know.
Right
Who-
now,
who
not right
exploits the
now,
best?
not exactly. That's what I was about to say. It's not who has the best character or who has the best strategy, but
I guess it is in that
it
respect.
is right now who exploits the most, like who pixel stacks the most, who builds Lily to scoring the most, and and things like that. So it's more
Well-
like it's not a good environment.
And I mean, it
competitive
makes
environment.
sense why people want that because there's competition there, and it's also wormholes. Out of every system in the game, wormholes actually are. I don't want to say the best in game, but it's really the most in game system we have, right? Because it has infinite scalability.
Yeah.
So, and I guess also to that respect is Hero Siege has got to find a system that isn't the wormholes, but a system that people enjoy, right? That's fun to play, that has good scalability. That's not just infinite scaling, and that's really hard to do. To be able to give you in game that's not that. 'Cause I hate wormholes. I think they're boring as hell.
Oh yeah, I also don't like them.
They are the only real form of like super endgame competition too,
Yep.
like you're talking
That's
about.
it. Yeah, it's the only place. So I totally understand why people would want to, compete with each other. Even D4 understands this because they just added the tower. It's the same thing, right? So Chaos Towers. Oh, I guess Chaos Towers are infinite scaling, but Elbozo. It's like the same thing. It's literally like the same thing, just in a circle.
Okay.
But I also feel like a lot of these systems and in-game systems just feel like they feel kind of meh because every season we're just constantly adding more ways to get angelics or heroics, and there's never like a system that goes for something else. And I feel like after so many seasons of just constantly adding lead mechanics that just go for heroics and angelics. I understand that's what people use to build their builds, but because there's no crafting, there's no like chase to other things. Like it makes it hard to make in-game systems because it's just all it's doing is just giving players more ways of getting the same loot.
Yeah, the Atlas, not the Atlas, but the Ether tree should change that aspect. In theory.
Kind of. I mean, it's the loot didn't
Yeah.
change. It's like you're still getting the same loot. I mean, the Ether tree once
Not,
again is
not exactly.
yeah, that's fair.
Not
There's some
not
change.
exactly. It has different like outcomes for different content. So it's not like you're gonna get the same thing like just by doing different content. So like let's say if you want to farm materials, just an example, you would run a dungeon specific tree. If you want to farm, I don't know, relics, you would run another tree. So tarot cards and whatnot. So different content should give you different outcomes, different stuff, not just like boost your drops.
Right.
That's boring. That's boring as fuck. And it kinda kills the purpose of the Ether tree.
Yeah. So, we kind of move on to some closing thoughts here. I was going to go through the questionnaire. I don't know what everyone's time is looking like. If we want to dive into that, it's kind of a long questionnaire. So that's up to you guys. We can hold off on it for another time, or we can go through it.
I am running a little low on time.
Okay, that's totally fine. If we don't have, I don't like I said, I don't want to open that can of worms. If I know Cat's, I think playing CTE right now, just chilling with the boys.
I'm not actively playing at the moment. But...
Sure, you're not. Okay, no worries. So let's go through some closing thoughts, and then we'll kind of move on from there. Is there anything that worries you going into the closed beta launch? Like obviously, all of us in here have closed beta. Is there anything that's kind of like worries you?
Me?
Just in general, with whether it's from your side, from a dev side, or just from a player's more of a player's perspective. But is there anything that you're worried about going into launch?
Not having enough time to test everything in the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's like the nodes by themselves are working, like node by node. But we need to find some broken interactions, of course. That like if you pick node by node, they are all working because we tested them, me and Hauger. So the working part, it's there, but the broken interactions, we need to find those in the CBT, and I think there's some workarounds to it.
Mm-hmm.
I just like not up to me again, but at some point we can give boost of XP of experience to all the players, so they can get more points, so they can test more stuff to see if they can spot any broken interactions. I don't know.
Right. Is there anything that anything feeling unfinished from your perspective?
Not really.
Yeah. And that's good. That's exciting. I don't really know what worries me going this next launch. I feel like this next launch is gonna, or for at least closed beta, is gonna be probably one of the best betas I've ever been in. Like, there's tons of people that I respect and that I played with for the last 2 years, 3 years, something like that. So I'm actually really excited to get into this closed beta and hang out with the boys and blast. And yeah, I'm not really worried about it at all, honestly. I'm ready. Yeah. So any I know Ben just got up. Do we have any final thoughts on any of the topics from the night? Anything anybody wants to say before we wrap up?
Play Nomad next season. Trust me. Play Nomad.
Fuma is never coming back on this podcast again.
Oh, thank God.
You are never coming back to Siegecast.
I never asked for furry skins.
Sure you didn't. Says the furry in the room.
Play Nomad in Season 9. Trust me.
Holy.
Give Nomad a furry skin.
Ben, right when you got up,
It
I
ha-
said,
it,
this are our
it
final
has a
thoughts. If anybody has anything to say about just any of
it
the
has a
topics in general.
it has a gender bender skin, so it's not a furry skin, but it has a gender bender. So
Gender bender.
yeah, Nomad.
You're muted.
Am I? Can
There you go.
you
It
guys
might
hear
be
me?
just be your mic.
Okay, good.
There you go.
No, well, I had to put it to push to talk because yeah, my mic is actually messing up.
Grexy,
on the side, so I
Grexy.
usually flip it up. But
Grexy, check your DMs.
I'll look in a second. Yeah, Ben, did you have anything that you wanted to say?
no, I mean I agree with you in that I think this is going to be the biggest season to date for sure, and I think it's going to be a massive push in a positive direction, especially when it comes to like player choice is going to be so huge this coming season. You know, we've said it a bunch of times. I know you guys are tired of me saying it, but the build variety is just going to be it's going to blow people away, and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah. I think what matters more this next season, to be honest with you, I don't think the tree matters at all. I don't think the ether tree matters, the passive tree, classes, none of this shit matters. You know what matters? That they launch the game at an appropriate time. Season 6 had literally no big moves at all. There's nothing interesting about Season 6 for them. I mean, there's a little bit of stuff, and it was their biggest season. They had the most concurrent players in Season 6. So as much as like this stuff matters to a degree, like obviously people coming in, they want to have stuff to do, and the tree, they're going to see the tree, it's going to be great and everything. What matters, I think, more is the time that they release. It's just if they release at the right time, on top of having all this content, it'll just really help skyrocket the game even more. So, yep. I want all their hard work to go to waste because they've decided to push the game out this week before or after PoE 2 or PoE 1. To be fair, if they had released this current season a week after PoE 2, I think that would have been insane. I think actually that would have drawn in a lot of players. But
yeah, capitalizing on the dead time or the failure of other RPGs is insane for growth.
Yep. And I think this game has, I mean, if you have a shit game, then it doesn't really matter. But I think this game has really good potential just within itself that players will want to come and play. If they see it, they'll be like, oh, trees, sheesh. Okay. That's going to wrap up this episode of SiegeCast. Thanks to all the panel for the discussion in the chats and all your feedback, questions. It's been awesome. As always, these are just opinions, and we encourage you to share yours in the comment section of the YouTube video. We'll be posting this shortly after its conclusion. Our next episode, I would like to hear from a panel of more casual players and their experiences. So if you consider yourself to be just a decently knowledgeable player who is a bit more casual and would like the opportunity to come on the show and speak, please reach out to me via Discord. My Discord tag is Graxy_TV. It's the same on YouTube. You can find me in the Heroes Discord. I also have my Discord linked in the comment section of the YouTube video. So by all means, come and check us out. I'll have everybody's as well. To my guests, I appreciate the awesome discussions and looking forward to having you guys back on the show in the future. Guys, give us claps for the guests in the chat. Thank you guys. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah. Thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you in the next episode of SiegeCast. Have a wonderful Christmas. We may or may not have one next week. We'll kind of see depending on the holidays and stuff. So I hope if I don't see you before then, I hope you guys have an amazing Christmas. Spend lots and lots of time with your family. Yeah, and drink a lot of eggnog. So bye everybody. Bye guys.
Vai Brasil! Vai Brasil!
Okay, oh my God, dude. We're never having him back again.